Hello, winners, and welcome to Two for the Win with your hosts, Nick and Will. Today, we are talking college football. It's upon us. I think there's a team that my co-host and friend Nick wants to talk about quite a bit. I'm not sure which team that might be. I think they might have orange in their color. I don't know. But before we jump into our view of college football heading into this season, please be sure to share, subscribe, and follow Two for the Win on your favorite platform and spread the word. And also want to give a shout out to Hard Rock Bet for sponsoring today's episode. If you have a feeling about a particular team winning the conference, going to the playoff, winning the NCAA championship, consider placing that with Hard Rock Bet. You can find them in the description of this video where you found this. So there you have it. Fanatic Friday, here we are, my friend.
Hello, Will. Hello, winners.
Well,
what a great day to be alive.
It is. And we are talking college football today. So I got to give you the honors because for the first time ever, there's a particular team that was ranked number one in the college coaches poll. And for the first time ever, a particular team, the same team, was ranked number one in the AP poll. What team?
Longhorns.
Hook 'em horns. So could this be the year? New quarterback. New starting quarterback.
Well, it's very hard to tell in sport in general, but definitely in college because, you know, there are kids and with all the transfer and the transfer that happened now with the new NIL and things like that, you know, there will always be surprises. Mm-hmm. No, we know usually 4 or 5 teams that we expect to be in the top 12, and then we can go from there. But injuries are always a factor, so it's always hard to tell. What I know when people are negative about the Longhorns, it's always, well, they never won. I mean, I agree with that, but the last 2 years we are in the Final Four. And that's consistency. In college is hard to do. Definitely now compared to 5-10 years ago, because now you have the NIL and players are just they're able to leave tomorrow. I mean, way to speak, to go to another team. So am I confident? Yes, I am confident because I believe that we have the best defense that in the history of Texas Longhorns. I'm not looking at other teams when I talk about my team. I look about us. We have the best defensive team that we ever had. So that has to be something because we're always very good in offense and we struggle in defense. Now we have a very strong defense this year. And then the quarterback, like you mentioned, you know, Manning, I'm a believer of Manning since the start, and he didn't disappoint last year. I think that I love our coach. I love his style and his attitude. The only thing I don't like is I think his ego gets in the way when he think about playing a certain player, you're going to play him to death. And even though I believe that Ewers should have been a starter last year, even in the playoffs, I do believe that Manning should have had a role to play during the playoffs, and he refused to play him. And I think that for some situation, Manning was better than Ewers in some situation last year that we had. Because he's a dual threat. Mm-hmm. He can run as fast as some running backs, and he's big and strong, and he has a arm. And of course, he has, you know, family name is not everything, but for him, you can see that it's in the gene, and the way that he's seeing the field is telling to me. In some appearance that he had and the 3-star he had, that was outstanding. So. Do I believe that he's going to be able to do it this year? Yes, we had some loss, of course, you know, your new wide receiver in Green Bay with Golden, and then Blue in Dallas Cowboy, who unfortunately got hurt. So it's going to be, it's going to hurt to lose them. But what came in, because let's be honest, Texas has money, and they used it. And you know, if it's allowed, they would be stupid to not use it. You know, there is a lot of money going to the Longhorns. So yeah, I believe that we are favorite to win, and I do believe we will be back in the mix now, winning. I do hope so, and I believe it's possible, but there's a lot of things that needs to happen and a lot of things that needs to not happen, like surgery, injuries.
Yeah, for sure. The funny thing is, obviously, Arch Manning His grandfather, Pro Football Hall of Famer, Archie Manning, for the Saints. His father, very famous, with Peyton Manning, and obviously all the commercials. So even the casual
He's not
fan,
his father, by the way.
Oh, wait. Yeah. Who's
It's
his
not.
dad? It's the older son?
No, his dad is the one who didn't play NFL.
Oh, because I was going to say Peyton Manning had concrete feet.
Mm-hmm.
So he had cement, and this one's fast.
Yeah, no,
Okay,
that's
so
not
it takes
the same.
after the older brother. All right. See, I learned something new. There you go.
Yeah,
so,
it's all good.
yeah. Well, yeah, no wonder why he's faster than what I thought. Because I was like, well, he must have got it from his mom because his dad. did
But
not run fast.
what you mean, 3 Hall of Famer? I mean,
Yeah. So, yeah. So, obviously, can do the quarterback, dual threat. You mentioned Texas is favored to win the national championship, but a fun fact, their opening game at Ohio State, they're the first ever preseason number 1 team that the very first game they are an underdog. They are an underdog right now at the time of this recording at Ohio State. Thoughts on that?
I mean, I understand. I'm not mad about it because Ohio State are the returning champs. So if I was, I'm always trying to be, I'm always, I believe, like very honest about my teams, positive or negative. And if I was an Ohio State fan, I would be upset to be underdog at home, first game of the season. It was the same last year with Michigan. Texas went opening night, opening week to Michigan, and we beat the heck out of them. Again, I mean, they lost JJ McCarthy. They lost a lot of players. They lost their coach. So it's more loss. But Ohio State right now, they have a strong core, but they lost so much on the line. They lost, of course, their quarterback, which is the most important position. I believe we have an upgrading quarterback in Texas. I believe they have 2 quarterbacks, which means they have none. In Ohio State, they have the best wide receiver maybe ever in college. In Smith, I believe it is. So it's Smith. I forgot. Yeah. So yeah, they are strong, and that's why they are, I think, number 3 in the AP 25. But I do think Hard Rock Bets, which is our sponsor today, expect a large bet, in which normally I don't bet on my teams because I don't want to influence like the heart and the mind. But it's gonna be a large bet coming from Nick here to Hard Rock Bet for the first game, because I do believe that Texas are gonna go there and win the game because of the defense. And the defense, I don't think you can stop Smith on the wide out, but I do believe we can stop the quarterback, whoever it's gonna be. Or D-line is fantastic and fast and strong. I do believe we're going to stop the quarterback, and then there is no ball going to Smith.
That's the thing. You got a first-time starter in Ohio State, and you got, in your opinion, one of the best defense Texas have ever fielded. To me, that sounds like a Longhorn win, but we can talk about that as we get closer to that. So when you look at, so you mentioned Ohio State being number 3 in the AP poll. Texas is preseason number 1. Surprisingly, so they got 25 of the votes for the AP being the number 1 team. A surprising number 2, Penn State, got 23. So they were a close second to Texas. Obviously, Penn State.
I want your take. I want your take because you had a good point earlier when we talk about it.
Yeah, I think with Penn State, so they actually won a game last year in the playoffs, but you and I have both been critical of them that they don't win the really big games and go through. But here's Penn State, a lot of returning starters, including their quarterback, but they lost their number 1 receiver, who was the tight end. He went in the NFL draft. He had over 100 catches, and their next best receiver had 46, had less than half. So they do have a strong running game, but who are they going to throw the ball to? Are those players going to be able to step up? That tight end was everything in their offense.
You're right.
And I just have doubts about Penn State and especially their head coach. I think he's a good head coach, but I don't think he's a championship head coach. I think too, if I look at the top 10, and I look at some of the rankings, I think Penn State, I do not view them as the second best team in the country. But what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think the same way. I think that they're going the right direction. If I was a Penn State fan, I think I don't want the same coach And again, it's not that he's a scrub or anything like that, but I do believe that he proved multi-times that he cannot win big games. And last year he did it again. I remember, if you remember or if you don't, just go back. I was saying I will not bet on Penn State until they prove they can win a big game. And they had a cakewalk until the semifinal.
Yeah.
And then on the semifinal, they played Notre Dame and they lost. And that's Notre Dame. All right, last year they had a great. But that's not like a team I would think like they beat an Alabama or Georgia or even Texas or anything like that. So Ohio State and none of that. I just want them to beat a top team, and that never happens. And so until they do it, I don't believe in Penn State. No, it doesn't mean that I don't believe they will make the playoff or they will have a run. But I like you said, I mean, you had a good point. I didn't think about it, but it's true. They lost their tight end, who was literally more than a wide receiver for that team. So, and it's gonna be interesting. Now, I'm not very familiar about what they were able to bring from other teams. So maybe they brought a couple of players who they believe will make a difference. But they received 23 first round AP voting, so it means only 2 less than Texas. So. I have to say that I need to give them some kind of credit, but I would not bet on Penn State.
Yeah, smelling a little bit of East Coast bias. I would take Texas over Penn State, Ohio State over Penn State, Georgia over Penn State, probably Oregon, probably Notre Dame. I mean, I think they should have been ranked highest 6th, but we shall see. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
So I think Penn State, they got it wrong. If you look at, so I'm going to read off the top 10. Any team that surprised you where you rank or you think it's way too high for them to be ranked. So AP top 10 at the time of this recording: Texas 1, Penn State 2, Ohio State 3, Clemson number 4, Georgia 5, Notre Dame 6, Oregon 7, Alabama 8, LSU 9, Miami 10. Which one surprises you most?
Well, the big surprise was Penn State. The second one was Clemson. Again, I love Dabo Swinney, and I know he's controversial. He has his mindset, and he doesn't want to change the way he thinks, and that's his downfall, but he's a winner. Like last year, I remember, first game, they lost like bad. I believe it was LSU, but I'm not 100% sure.
I think it was LSU.
And after that, like everybody, and me included, oh my God, that's over, Clemson. And then they went into, they had one more loss all year long, and they went into the top 12. And then they lost to Texas, but that was a hard game. So they had tons of incoming players coming to Clemson, knowing Dabo. He brought the players that he believed will be able to make a difference for his type of play. And again, I would totally disagree with that if it was professional football or any sport, because you need to build something, for years to come. College now with the new rules, you build for that year.
Right.
And so the fact that he loves to have players who adapt to his system, it makes sense. If you're a pro team, I believe that the coach should be adapting to the players that he has. But for college, I can understand why. Okay, here's my philosophy. That's what I believe. It needs to be happening to win, and he proved it. So I have absolutely no problem for him doing that. So probably based on what's coming in, but I was very surprised that they were as high as number 4. And the third one that I thought was a little bit too high is Miami. I know the hype is huge because of the quarterback coming.
The U.
Yeah, and I like the U, but the everything coming in, the guy coming in from Georgia. I mean, everybody believe, and again, quarterback make a big difference. But an ACC is probably not the strongest other than Clemson. But I do believe ACC has been overrated here this year with two ACC team in the top 10. That's my.
I agree. I would say that's the one thing why Clemson maybe got ranked high is that conference is not as strong as it has been at times in years past. I would say so. I'm not going to be redundant. I agree. Those were surprising rankings. I'm going to make a bold prediction of which top 10 team will not finish in the top 10. Alabama. That coach, I know you liked him when he was at Washington, but last year, remember what I said? Like the aura of Nick Saban, it's going.
It was not his team.
They got, I know, but mark it here, Alabama.
Hey.
I'm not saying they're not going to make the playoffs.
You just said that.
No, I said they're going to finish outside the top 10.
Oh, I thought you said that team will not
10.
make the playoff. Oh, sorry.
No. Outside the top 10. They may not make the playoffs, but I think Alabama goes outside the top 10, and you're going to hear Roll Tide fans losing their mind because that will be a place they're not used to in the last
If they don't make the
15
playoff,
years.
I think that the coach change is coming because there's too much money on Alabama. Roll Tide is a brand, and they cannot have 2 seasons like back to back.
There was an Alabama fan will know prior to Nick Saban, there were some lean years in Alabama. And all right, so that's my bold prediction. All right, let's jump to the remaining. I'm going to read off real quickly the remaining teams in the top 25 preseason. Arizona State 11, Illinois, South Carolina, Michigan, Florida, SMU, Kansas State. Shout out to Sarah, who's a fan of the show. Oklahoma, Texas A&M, Indiana, Mississippi, Ohio State, Texas Tech, Tennessee at 24, Boise State at 25. Which of those teams do you think may surprise people and maybe could make a jump into the top 10 by the time the season's done?
I would pick 2 teams.
Okay.
The problem I have, Illinois, I'm high because last year they did an amazing season. And this year they should be better than last year. The problem is their conference. They will have to beat Penn State, Ohio State, and even Michigan will be a hard game.
Oregon.
I do believe, and Oregon, I believe also that, I hate to say that, but and I do believe that Nebraska will be surprising people. They are not ranked. That's the team. If I have to bring a team not ranked that I believe will be way better is Nebraska. I think the Big Ten next year will be outstanding. Top down, they will have a lot of great team. That's the reservation I have for Illinois to go through that. But I do believe Illinois will be better, and I would not be surprised if they reach the top 10. The second team is Tennessee. The reason why Tennessee are ranked so low are just because that the quarterback, issue and left for USC or UCLA. And I think that I love the coach. The coach is very strong, and they have the rest core of the team still there. And last year they were outstanding. So I would definitely pick those 2 to be improving based on their AP 25, the first AP 25.
Yeah, I think I agree with Illinois. They have a shot, but that conference is brutal. I think another team, again, I'm probably doing it more because I like the swag of the coach. I think Mississippi could sneak up on some people like Lane Kiffin.
Oh, Ole Miss.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Mississippi could surprise some people. Florida's got talent. Those are some. I think I'm going to flip now. Teams that I think are ranked way too high. Arizona State, no way do I see them as the 11th best team in the country. I think they drop. I think Michigan, for the same reason we're talking about, how tough the conference is, I could see them dropping out of it. And I also agree with you. I think Tennessee should be higher. I think they will come up higher. I think, again, we're talking about the 20th ranked team of the country, so it's not like they're expected to be a powerhouse. Indiana, no. I know they had a great year last year. I think it was like one of those unique years. That was their year last year. I do not expect them to be in the top 25 when all's said and done.
Yeah, and I have to say something about Texas Tech. And I know when you are a Longhorns fan, you don't want to hear Texas Tech, Texas A&M, Oklahoma. But Texas Tech spent $25 million for their team. And I do believe that they will prove that it's not because you have a lot of money that you can actually be directly relevant. So that's the reason why we're in top 25. Texas Tech is because they invest so much money in their football team for roster next year. I don't believe it's gonna work. So that's just me. So that's something I wanted to add there.
One team that is not in the top 25, and I don't expect it to get in the top 25, is TCU, because their quarterback is a Furby. It is basically, for those who don't follow, if you ever saw the original CSI show, they had an episode about a fur conference where people dress up as fur animals. And they actually had, it's legit. And this was the first ever known quarterback to go to that conference all dressed up. So I love diversity of interest for people. I don't want that with my quarterback. I want my quarterback to be a killer. I don't want them to be a furry dress up animal at a conference.
Boom. I agree. I want to ask you a question.
Sure.
Which team is not in the top 25 and that you believe they should be top 25?
All right, I'm going to go Homer just because I know it pisses you off, but I think the Badgers. When they got that head coach who had been in Ohio State for a lot of years, passed up on other opportunities. Now, Wisconsin, for those who don't follow, which a lot of people don't follow Wisconsin, but historically, since Barry Alvarez in the early 90s, Wisconsin was known for beefy offensive line, running backs, and ground and pound. This the defensive head coach, when he took over, they're now running a run and gun. This is his third draft class. If I'm not saying they're going to make the playoffs. I don't think they'll make the playoffs. They should be in the top 25. If they're not, I expect a change because Wisconsin's used to being in competition for the conference. They had a terrible year last year. I'm counting on them to rebound.
There we go. And for me, I already said Nebraska. The reason why I don't go Ole Miss because I also love Lane Kiffin. It's because they lost Dirt, and I think it's very hard to replace such a terrific quarterback. Offensively, like such a bomb. And knowing Lane Kiffin is probably bringing someone who can replicate, but it's going to be very hard to be at the same level directly.
I agree. Yep, there we go. All right, so we're going to do a quick rundown of the Big Four conferences. Who we think is going to win the conference, our preseason prediction. Let's start with the ACC. The top two teams, according to the AP, would be Clemson and Miami. Some other ranked team is SMU. Out of that entire conference, preseason, they only have 3 teams ranked in the top 25. Doesn't mean that's how it'll finish. You have other teams like Louisville, Florida State. Of course, we're in Florida, so people are going to be talking about Florida State. I forgot Stanford was in the ACC. But anyway, thoughts on the ACC? Who do you see winning it?
Yeah, Clemson. I see Clemson win. Pretty significantly. Again, Miami will be a challenge, but I think that Clemson will win significantly. And the team that it's the more, intriguing will be North Carolina because of the coach, of course, Bill Belichick.
Yeah, Bill Belichick. A lot of eyes to see what happens there. I agree with you. I'll go with Clemson. All right, Big 12. Arizona State is the highest ranked team in the conference, preseason number 11, but they actually have Iowa State at 22 and Texas Tech at 23. Some other teams of note that are in there, UCF, since we're in Florida, figure we mentioned them, Utah, BYU, Cincinnati, Colorado, of course, the jersey I'm sporting. What do you see in terms of the Big 12?
Well, I will surprise here people, but I will take Utah. I
okay.
think that Utah last year they disappoint a lot. People were I hope, but I read that they really revamp a little bit their structure. But I believe in the coach. He was outstanding outside last year, but they went also through a lot of injuries. So I think they're gonna be back. I hope Colorado will also be good because it's always great. And by the way. Yeah. Just looking at the players in Colorado, the way that they start their preseason NFL, the amount of Colorado players who are actually, being better during the preseason that they were expected are just huge. Like running back, wide receiver, defensive back, of course, Shader and things like that. So it means that he can not only coach the kids, but also prepare them for the next level. So I think that's going to attract even more people to Colorado. I pick Utah with like a special notion for Colorado.
Yeah, I'm hoping for Colorado. I know Coach Prime said they were going to win differently, which I think they had to because their O-line was not a good pass blocking O-line. One of the best things that can help an O-lineman who's poor at pass blocking is to run the ball. So I expect Colorado to play differently this year, which I think will help them actually because Shadur almost got killed last year behind that line. Kansas State, I'm intrigued. I follow Kansas State more than what I would because we have a work colleague whose father used to be the defensive coordinator there for a number of years. And they always have these really gutty wins, but then there's always that game they trip up and they kind of fall flat on their face. So I kind of want to pull for Kansas State, but I will go with an outlier as well. Same state, different university, BYU.
I was thinking about them as well.
BYU, they always seem to be in the mix. So I'll go with BYU. All right. The best for last, the big two conferences. Let's start with the Big Ten. We already heard about your thoughts about how powerful this is. Just listen to the ranked teams, preseason ranked. Penn State, 2. Ohio State, 3. Oregon, 7. Illinois, 12. Indiana, 20. Michigan, 14. Iowa, for the first time maybe ever since the mid-'80s, has a quarterback. So who knows what's going to happen to them. You already talked about Nebraska. I referred to Wisconsin. And then you still have the California West Coast teams, UCLA, USC, Washington.
Brutal.
I mean, just a
Brutal.
ton. So who's standing with the Big Ten championship trophy at the end of the year?
This is a hard one for me. I tend to go Penn State because Penn State, I don't believe in them when it matters. And during the season, they usually fail against Ohio State only. And they are able to take care of business for the rest. Ohio State, it all depends. I don't know the quarterback. If the quarterback is great, they have so many weapons on the offensive hand. But I will stick with Penn State. And with a special mention, since I do a special mention for the all conference, for Nebraska. Not saying Nebraska is going to win, but I think Nebraska will maybe a team who may dictate who are the top of the conference, because that's going to be very hard to play Nebraska this year, and even more over there at their house.
Yeah, Oregon went undefeated last year in Big Ten play. They're the third ranked team preseason in it. I think they have a shot. I would take Ohio State over Penn State. I'm just gonna throw a really crazy one. So the way they have the division set up, anybody can play anybody. But Iowa has a crazy good defense. They have a quarterback, for one, a guy who can actually throw a 15-yard arrow. I saw in their scrimmage, and the fans were going bananas. They hadn't seen that play in decades in Iowa. Kurt Ferenz is getting older. I'm going to go.
There you go. I love it.
Hey, they're not winning. They're not winning in the national championship. But
special mention.
Go through their schedule, and they will probably play either Penn State or Ohio State for the championship. Anything can happen in one day. What the hell? I will go Iowa Hawkeye with the crazy upset.
I love that. I love that.
If they don't do it this year, then never do it. All right. And then the granddaddy of them all, the SEC. Just listen to some of these teams. Texas as the number 1. You have Georgia, number 5. Alabama, 8. LSU, 9. South Carolina, 13. Florida, 15. Oklahoma, 18. Texas A&M, 19. Ole Miss, 21. Tennessee, 24. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 of the top 25, over a third in the SEC. And unranked teams, Auburn.
Kentucky wins. And we mentioned Ole Miss already.
Yeah. Vanderbilt. Geez, what a conference. Who do you see coming out of this one?
I still believe, and it's my conference now, but I still believe Big Ten are more strong top to bottom. I still think that is the conference. But SEC, of course, Texas, I have them favorites to win the conference. They won last year, but they lost to the championship game. So I guess there are two ways to look at it. This, first of all, it's not because I cannot stand them, but Oklahoma Sooners, I think that they won't go anywhere at all this year. Same for Texas A&M. I think they are so overrated again. But the special mention here will be for, I had them earlier. Yeah, Kentucky. So I try to pick also a special mention for a team who is not ranked. I think Kentucky may cause a lot of problem because last year they went a step better. The coach had a lot of trades coming in based on what his scheme looks like. So I do believe that Kentucky may be a surprise team there, not going to win, but I think they may surprise people and maybe have a 7-4, 7-3, 7-4 again, and making a couple of upsets.
Yeah, I'm going to go Texas winning. The SEC. I think they're legit. I've already been on record saying Alabama is not going to finish as well as what their preseason ranking is. My special mention, I already talked about Ole Miss, so they can be up there. But my special mention of a team that will make the playoffs, South Carolina. South Carolina had some big upset wins last year, came out of the blue, returning a lot of players. They have a quarterback. I don't know. I think they got something. I think they're one of those teams that are under the radar. Nobody really thinks about South Carolina football, even though they're ranked number 13. But I think they make the playoffs. Again, a lot of it has to do with the schedule too. The way these schedules are lined up, and I think they have a shot. So that'll be my special mention.
Really good. The reason why I don't pick them is because they have a quarterback. He has a big arm, but he is it's not careful with the ball. Meaning, like, he's a guy who likes to throw a bomb. And when you do that in the ACC level with the kind of safety we have, in the conference, I do believe that there will be a lot of interceptions. And when the time are critical, I think that he will make some mistakes. Another reason why I don't go South Carolina, because they have everything. They have literally a good defense, and they have a great weapon in offensive side of the ball. I just don't believe the quarterback will be smart enough in important time. That's the reason why I don't go there.
Just channel your inner Brett Favre, South Carolina quarterback. Big arm, big play. Let's go, Gamecocks. But Texas is going to win overall. But South Carolina is like my sneaky playoff pick from the SEC because that conference is stacked. All right, winners. There you have it. You agree with us? Go to Hard Rock Bet. Follow. Put your money where your mouth is. You disagree with us? Go to Hard Rock Bet. Put your money where your mouth is. But no, in all seriousness, thanks for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed this college football preseason edition of Fanatic Friday. Again, please be sure to share, follow, subscribe, all the good stuff. Spread the word about Two for the Win. Thank you for that. And shout out to Hard Rock Bet, obviously, for sponsoring today's episode. All right, winners, that'll do it for today. We'll see you next week where we talk fantasy football next week. So tune in for that one. Of course, we're not going to, Chad's team will still stink no matter what. I know he heard that. So have fun, winners. Take care.
Bye, winners.